Hi, welcome to Salt City Knits. I'm Emily, and this is a podcast all about my making life. And I have a scratchy throat today, and I have already recorded this entire podcast once before. Realized my microphone was not on, and I did not capture any sound whatsoever. So I'm starting over again. Bear with me. I hope that I can do it justice. First off, you can find all of my contact information in the description box below this video. So if you are looking for my yarn, my patterns, or if you want timestamps to help you get through and the different segments of this video, please make sure to check there. Today I will be starting with a bit of a life update, and then I will be talking about my my finished objects, then my works in progress, a new yarn base that I have discovered, and then we'll have a short chat about books and go into some shop news. And at the end of this video, I will actually be including a video to show you all about the Holy Week box that we enjoyed this last week. So for those of you who did not order a Holy Week box, you can see what was included. That will be at the end of this video. Again, my throat is quite scratchy. I've just had this issue off and on ever since I had pneumonia back in at Christmas of 2024. Any kind of irritation, any little cold, any kind of allergies, and I just get this scratchy throat, and I don't know. I don't enjoy it at all. The worst part of it is, yes, it messes with my voice, but also it is so irritated. It feels like you need to sneeze, but in your throat. That's not even exactly right, but it just tickles, and makes my eyes water. I just hate it. So hopefully it is not going to be a major problem. So, okay, let's chat about the last week. We had such a good weekend. We celebrated Abby's birthday. And I cannot believe it, but my youngest is now an adult. So all of my children are officially adults. Now, 18-year-olds are baby adults, but still. I feel like it happened slowly and then all at once. And suddenly she's just all grown up. But we had a great time. We celebrated with all my kids got together and my grandson. We went out to dinner on Saturday, and then we went to the Museum of Illusions, or the Illusions Museum. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but apparently these are all over the world, and it's way fun. We had such a good time. There's all kinds of cool, like forced perspective kind of things. There's anything from displays hanging on a wall to things you can climb all over, mirrors that you can see different kinds of reflections with. There's like a tunnel you walk through that's dark, and it has all the way around it, there's just lights that look like they're spinning. And even though the ground is completely level, your body just immediately is trying to tip over because you feel like you're in a tumbler. Just all kinds of really cool things. And everybody loved it. Everyone from my grandson, who's almost 3, to, all through all my children. And then Richard and I, we all had a great time. So that was a lot of fun. And then we had a lovely Easter Sunday. We actually had a really kind of quiet day that day, but for Easter morning, we went to my daughter Aria's house, and we had Easter breakfast and watched one of the sessions of our church's general conference together, which was just absolutely lovely and amazing. And then the rest of the day, we just kind of relaxed. And that evening, we just watched some other videos. We had some great discussions, and we just let it be a still day, which was really nice. I think that there was part of me that was feeling like I was kind of failing at providing something fancy and amazing, but I've gotten over that. I'm happy that we had a quiet day, but it was full of worship and just a beautiful day. On Monday, we got some of Abby's friends together and we went over to our church building and used the gym there. And we set up a big TV screen, or like projector screen, and the projector, and her friends were over. We had pizza. They watched The Phantom of the Opera and then did karaoke. And she and I ended up singing together. And I'm going to put that here with her permission. She does not like to be on video a lot, but she said I could share this. And this is not the whole song that we sang, but it's like in 3 parts. So it was really fun. You got to hear how great she is. So I'll include that right here. That people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow. If we let them,
you make me cry,
and we help them in return, well, I don't know if I believe that
much of me is made what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart, and that whatever way our stories end, I know you have me in mind by being my friend. Like a ship left from its moorings by the wind of the sea, like a sea dragged by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? 'Cause I knew you,
because I knew you.
I have been changed for good. And just to be wrong.
So we had a lot of fun doing that, and it was kind of a sweet mother-daughter moment. But also the next day I lost my voice. So it's just starting to come back, but in this kind of gravelly way. So it is a week of milestones for Abby. Tomorrow is a big day for her. One of the milestones in our faith is the first time you attend the temple. And that's something that's really special to us. And she will be doing that tomorrow. And it's a special part of our worship. And we have special ceremonial clothing that we wear that's part of this. And so yesterday we had a girls' day out. We went and got those items that we needed for her, and we went out to dinner. It was me and my 2 daughters, my cute daughter-in-law. We just had so much fun shopping, celebrating this special milestone for her that she's so excited about. And like I said, we went out to dinner. Then we also did some other shopping. We went to a bookstore. We went and tried on clothes at other places. We just had a fun time. And I ended up trying on a pair of jeans that was a size smaller than what I've been wearing recently. And when I first took them in the dressing room, I thought, I just held them up and I'm like, there's no way these are going to fit. But I'm just going to see, like, how far away am I from them fitting? They fit. They fit exactly how they should fit. I was blown away. My daughter-in-law took this picture because I came out and I was like, you guys, look at this. And for some of you, this may be like, seriously, you're excited about wearing that size, but I am wearing a US women's plus size 22 now. To give you a frame of reference, when I started this health journey a year ago, I owned only size 28s, but I couldn't even get them on. I mean, I could squeeze into them, but they were so painfully uncomfortable. They were obviously at least one size too small. So I was probably in a 30 and now I'm in a 22. And the last time that I was wearing size 22 jeans was in 1998. Yes, in the 1900s. So I'm so thrilled. I did not buy those jeans. They weren't actually the style that I ended up wanting. So I didn't buy those. But later at another store, I bought the same exact pair of jeans that I already had that I really liked, but in that same size, in the size 22. I was in a 24 and I bought the 22. I'm wearing them right now. They fit perfectly. So just super exciting, super exciting. I mean, it's a huge milestone for me. 28 years since I wore this size. Bonkers, bonkers. So that was really fun. This coming up week, so a week from today on next Friday, I will be going to the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, which is an awesome yarn and fiber show here in Utah. It's in Farmington, Utah, and my sister Deborah of Candy Shop Yarns will be vending there, and it's a really nice show. It's not so packed that you can't enjoy it, but there's a lot of great vendors. Nice space. It's a great show. So I'm really looking forward to that. So if you are going to be there on Friday, and if you see me, come say hi. I would love to talk to you. I will be there most likely mid-morning to early afternoon, in that range. And you usually can find me either somewhere close to Deborah's booth, or over by the tables where you can sit and knit and hang out with your friends. So I'll definitely go look around at all of the booths, but I'm mostly there to hang out with my friends and knit. Let's just be honest. So come and say hi if you see me there. I'd love to talk to you. All right, the last thing I wanted to talk about in this little life update section is to tell you all how amazing you are. I had shared Abby's wish list with you. I didn't have any expectations of exactly what was going to happen with that. But if I had, I would not have expected that you would buy it out, which you did. Everything that Abby had on her wish list, you guys have sent to her. And while she does not like to be on video, she wanted me to make sure to tell you just how grateful she is. She has saved all your little notes that were included in the packages. She put them all in her journal. I mean, she just was like, another one? She's just blown away. She's absolutely blown away. And I know a couple of items were purchased by friends and neighbors of ours, or family members, but almost all of it, really the vast majority was all of you amazing people. Thank you so much for your generosity. I know most of us do not share the same faith, but we love and support each other. And I think we all love supporting each other in each other's faith, which is amazing to me. The fact that she's using these items because she's going to be serving a mission for our church may be off-putting for some people, but obviously for a lot of people, they just want to support her. And I feel so very grateful and humbled by this. So thank you so much for supporting my baby girl. It means the world. It really does. So thank you. Okay, let's dive in to finished objects. I have 2 finished objects to share with you. So the first one is actually the pattern that was released with my Holy Week box that came out. And this pattern is called the Temple Square Socks. So here are these socks. I love this fun cuff. It's a fold over picot cuff, and it's really easy to do. So much more easy than you might think. If you've never done something like this, give it a try. It's really a fun way to add a nice little detail. And I love how these turned out. They're just really fun. Here is the pattern from the front. The back is the same. And then the sides. Now these are not the yarns that were included in the box. But again, if you want to see those, you can stay to the end and there will be that little video that will show you all the yarns. They're very Eastery. They're very fun. So this pattern is available in 3 sizes: adult, small, medium, and large, which is a 56 stitch, 64 stitch, and 72 stitch sock. And by the time this video airs, these will be on Ravelry, on my website at yarnberry.com, and on Etsy. So that is the pattern. And I'm really excited to be able to share that with you. I obviously knit these some time ago, but hadn't been able to show them to you until now. So I think they're really fun. All right, the next finished object I have, which is where did I put it? I bet it's behind me. Yes, it is. It's my Lifted in Love wrap. I did finish it. I kept my commitment to myself, but I did not block it. I meant to block it yesterday, and then it just went right out of my head. So I think it turned out great, and I really am so pleased with my decision to continue knitting all the way across so that I could maintain that yarn pooling. I think it turned out so cool. It really, to me, does look like the dappled kind of light that you get on like a swimming pool or something. Does that make sense? Like how like the water is just moving a little bit, and then when the sun shines, you get that kind of refracted light effect. That's what it reminds me of. So I think that's very fitting with the color. It looks very swimming pool-like to me. And it turned out so pretty. I used the pink and beige mohair, and so all the mohair in here is the pink, and then this is beige, pink through it. And this main yarn was Sock Obsessions yarns in the colorway Knockout, and it's a 75-25 merino nylon base. So it does need a blocking. One thing I realized when I cast on this part so I had knit all the way from the one end all the way to here, had these stitches on hold, and then I went and cast on and was knitting this section. I realized on autopilot, I had read how many stitches to cast on. I had the lace chart in front of me, and I knew the method since I designed this shawl. I'd completely forgotten that in the original design, it has an I-cord edge. So I did a garter edge all the way through, and I didn't realize it until I went and cast this on and started knitting the I-cord edge based on the pattern, and then went, I don't think I was doing that. Had to get my other section out and look at it. Nope, sure enough, garter stitch. It still looks good, but I just thought that was hilarious. I forgot what my own pattern called for. So, there you go. But that will now, I'll block that and then get it to its recipient. But I think it turned out so fun. And I think it's way prettier in person. It's really, really, really pretty in person. And I think it's pretty on camera, but it just doesn't, I don't know, the colors don't look quite as pretty as they do in person. I think what it is you're not seeing just how pretty the peachy, orangey bits are. And so it looks slightly flat. But I do think the pink and the beige alternating is kind of a fun effect too. So that one is done. All right, let's talk about works in progress. I have 2. So first off is the top that I have been showing you that I am designing. I showed this to you last time, and I have completed the back. So I now have the stitches. These are the shoulder stitches that are both on hold. The only stitch stoppers that I had, needle stoppers, were Santa ones that I had handy to me. So I've got Christmas ones on there. Seems fitting. So the neck stitches are bound off. The shoulder stitches are on hold so that once I finish the front, I will be doing a 3 needle bind off for those shoulder stitches. So now I have to now take all these stitches on the front and start knitting this section here. So it'll come up to about where the neck starts, and then I'll knit one side and then the other side. So I think it's turned out great. But I'm really loving how this looks down the side. That side, there's a stitch marker there. Hold on, let me see. Can I hold this so you can see it better? I just like the way that the graduation of the pattern worked out. I'm super excited to see that all blocked, see how it looks. I like the split hem, the high-low hem. I just think it's coming together really nicely. So I anticipate that I will have this done next week, because this back portion went like once I got to the separating for the armholes right here, that back portion went really fast, and the front portion I think will as well. One thing I really like is the way I'm carrying this stitch detail up along the edge. That's going to be the edge of the sleeve right here. And there'll probably be another little applied edge that I'm going to add onto it, but I think it's going to look really nice. And of course, it's hard to see it. It's hard to see the vision when it's not finished and when it's not blocked, but I've got the vision in my head. I think it's going to turn out really nice. So that one is in progress. I hope to have it done next week. The other one that I am working on is a new cast on from anything I've shown you before. And my sister released her beautiful Dainty Bows sock pattern. Look how cute that is. Oh my goodness. I just think it's darling. This is a bow. It kind of looks like a kiss or something right now, but it's half of the bow. And this is duplicate stitched on the heel flap. Let's see if I can find another couple of pictures I can show you. I don't want to show things I shouldn't show, but here's another cute picture of the color work. Can see that duplicate stitch bow on the heel. And then she's got some really fun variations as well. So here's a couple of really fun variations. So here's one. Isn't that darling? It's just 2 colors. That's really cute. And then here's another one where she just did the scallops all the way down the leg and then on the toe, and then did the bow on the heel. So there's a lot of really fun ways you can do this. Well, when I decided, as soon as this came out, I bought it that day. I wanted to make sure I had the pattern that day so I could cast it on. I've been so excited for it. And I came up to look for yarn, and I remembered this set that I bought from Candy Shop Yarns a few years ago. I think it maybe even 3 years ago. And this is called, let's see, the Candy Crush sock set. That's upside down. Let's try that again. The Candy Crush sock set. And it is these 3 colors here. And Deborah had initially knit a different color work pattern with this. I love the colors. I bought this, but I haven't I'm like, what am I going to make? I thought about originally making the first one that she made, but I don't know. I just never did. And then I just kept thinking nothing is good enough for it. I just think it's so pretty. So it's perfect for this because even though it's quite a bit brighter than what she has in her picture, it still has like kind of the corally, orangey main color, 2 different blues, and all I needed to find was a pink. Well, I have a hot pink. This is my Bloom colorway named after Judy Bloom. And I had this already partial, skein in my stash here. So here is my sock so far. Isn't that fun? I think it's so fun. It's time now for me to do the duplicate stitch bow on the heel. It's so much easier to do that before you've turned your heel or done anything, this is when you do it. So that is what is coming up next, which I will be doing with this pink. So I am super excited. Now, Deborah's gauge is tighter than my gauge, and so she calls for using a US size 0, which is a 2mm needle for most of the sock, and then a 2.25mm or a US size 1 for when you're doing the color work. She states in there that you need to make sure to check your gauge because she has a semi-loose gauge. I am a tighter knitter than she is. So I am using the US size 1, which is what I normally use for socks for the bulk of the sock. And then I'm using a US size 1.5, which is a 2.5mm for the color work. And Deborah uses 9-inch circulars for when she does her color work, which in many ways I'm sure is very nice because then you're not trying to manage floats at the same time that you're dealing with a magic loop, change over, like moving your cable. But it just is not for me. And so I just continued to do the magic loop. And I think that the gauge is looking pretty good. Like there's not any crazy, this is where the color joins. So once I weave in those ends, that'll tidy that up. But I don't see any crazy tension problems around there. But I was extra careful, and I always caught my float on the last stitch of, or the last or the second to the last stitch of the needle, so that I wouldn't have kind of like, I don't know how to try to describe it. Like I wouldn't have a float that was going from here to here really tight. It would go around that circumference instead of across. Did that make sense? Hopefully that made sense. So anyway, I knit this in one day and I'm just had put it aside because I am trying to burn through my my top and get that to the next stage. But I am really excited to do that. I'm actually not excited to do the duplicate stitch. I'll be honest. I actually, for a brief moment, considered intarsia. And then I remembered I hate intarsia more than I don't like to do duplicate stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do the duplicate stitch heel because I know how cute it's going to be. And then go on. That's kind of one of the really fun things that Deborah has done with a few of her patterns. She has, I think, 3 different sock patterns that have darling duplicate stitch on the heel. She has this one that's the dainty bows. She has the lucky star socks, which I showed you maybe 2 months ago because I knit those not too long ago, that have a star on one heel and a heart on the other. And then she has her gingerbread dreams socks that has a gingerbread man on the heel. Oh my gosh, so cute. So she's amazing at that. So I'm loving that. I've got so much bright, fun color here. Just enjoying those immensely. Those patterns, I don't think she has them on Ravelry, but I know they're on her website at candyshopyarns.com and on Etsy. So if you search for Dainty Bows socks, you'll find it really easy. And that is just so cute. Now, this is kind of a segue from works in progress going into future works in progress and this new yarn base. So with the top that I am designing, I wanted to have that one done in a merino, in a wool yarn that's going to have all the spring and the bounce that wool does. But I also wanted to do one in a summery yarn with lots of drape. something like a cotton or a linen or a silk. So as I was researching that, I came across Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. So I bought a sweater quantity of this. And this is a different kind of silk yarn than I had ever heard of. And maybe I'm living under a rock. If you have heard of this, maybe you've already heard of this, you've knit with it, but it was new to me. This is called Burette silk. And Burette silk is a matte, kind of slightly slubby. It's a little, you can see the texture in it. Silk. And it is a sustainable and ethical silk yarn. It is made from the chrysalises of silkworms that have already matured and flown away so that they are not killed in the process or harmed in the process of making this silk yarn. And then in addition to that, so that's the ethical sourcing. But in addition to that, sustainability wise, it's made out of kind of the discard fiber from other silk processes. And so it's reducing waste, which also means that it is a more affordable silk yarn. But not only that, it looks like a cotton or a linen. The texture looks so similar to like a linen yarn with that kind of slubby texture. I was just really interested in it. So I got enough to make another top with. But as soon as it was in my hands, I felt it, I went, I am on a mission. And so I went researching and I found a mill that I bought some samples for. So I may be adding this to my shop. So I bought I bought 3, but these are the 2 that I like. Burette, these are both 100% Burette silk. This one has 394 yards to 100 grams, and this one has 525 yards to 100 grams. So a fingering weight and a light fingering weight yarn. And I wanted to test them, so I got them, I dyed them. I think they took the color in such a beautiful way. See, the cool thing about silk is it's temperature regulating. So it keeps you cool in the summer and keeps you warm in the winter. And also it can be dyed using the same processes as wool and alpaca and yak, all those protein fibers. Whereas linen or tencel or cotton cannot be dyed using the same processes. And so I am super interested in having a really nice summery yarn that I can dye without having to switch all my processes and my products that I use to dye. It can be done with the same dyes, the same everything. So I think the colors are turned out really pretty. And these are two colorways I'm testing to see if they're going to get added to my author's colors. This one I think ended up a little bit too close to my existing Bronte color, more than what I wanted it to. I think it's gorgeous, but I kind of already have a color very much like that. But this kind of pale celery green, I'm kind of obsessed. So I am I'm very eager to cast on with these. I think I might start with, I don't know. I can't decide which one I want to start with. I think this one is a little more, well, let's look at the yardage. No, I lied. I think this one is a little bit more comparable to the Knitting for Olive. I'm not trying to directly copycat Knitting for Olive. That isn't my goal. I just want to be able to carry a fiber like that. So I don't know. I think this is probably going to be the one I'm going to cast on with first. And I think I'm going to knit a summer shawl with it. So that is coming up very soon. Have you knit with Burette silk before? Are you familiar with this? Is it new to just me? Is this new to you? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it. I'm very, very interested, but I'm excited about that. All right, talking about my reading. So I am so enjoying the Belgariad series by David Eddings. Last time I talked to you, I had finished book 1, Pawn of Prophecy. I was about halfway through Queen of Sorcery, which is the second book. I've now finished that book. And I also finished The Magician's Gambit, which was book 3. And I am about a third of the way, maybe a quarter of the way into book 4, which is called Castle of Wizardry. There are 5 books in this series. And then there is a second 5-book series that it's a separate story, but it picks up right where that one left off. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go through all 10 of those. I'm just really enjoying it. I am mostly reading those in the paperbacks that I've got. And I just have to say, I'm mourning the loss of the trade paperback. You remember how you could just at any airport, at a grocery store, there were just paperback books and they were like $5 to $6, $7. They were small. They were cheap. You could buy 3 of them and go home and read them all that weekend. You know what I mean? Do you remember this? Oh, I'm mourning the loss. When we were at Barnes & Noble last night, I was looking at how they just don't make trade paperbacks anymore. The paperbacks are larger. They're obviously more expensive because everything is, but like quadruple more expensive than just the good old trade paperback. Anyway, I digress. I am really enjoying that series. I've read it before a few times, but I'm just really having fun. And it's kind of exactly what I needed. Nothing heavy. I don't have to think. I could just popcorn read my way through it. But when I'm not reading that, when I'm working, sometimes I'll listen to those audiobooks. I do have them through Libby, through the library. But the narrator is so annoying that most of the time I can't stand it. So I've also started reading or listening to Theo of Golden. So many of you recommended this book and so many recommendations I've seen on like Book Talk. And I'm not that far into it. It is so far a really beautiful, sweet, and tender story. It's not really grabbing my attention, but I don't think that's the kind of story it's trying to tell. It's really beautiful so far, but I admit that I think just where I am mentally, it's taking me a little bit to kind of keep coming back to it. I'm sure it's one of those books that once I have read it, I will just be so happy I've read it. But I'm reading it because I know I'm going to have that experience, not because I keep going, oh, I can't wait to sit down and listen to my book, or that I'm craving that reading. Does that make sense? Which is fine. It's nice to have kind of the combination of the two. So that is what I've got going on right now. And like I said, I'm just going to keep going through as well the rest of the David Eddings Belgariad and then the Malloreon series. And that's a total of 10 books right there. So just popcorn reading, one right after the other. So good. Okay, let's talk about shop news. Just again, a mention that I've released by this point, the Temple Square socks are now available. So you can go and grab those. And then a reminder of our April colorways. So first of all, the colorway of the month for April is the colorway Alcott, named for Louisa May Alcott. And this beautiful, pale, soft, purpley pink, pinky purple is available on 7 bases for 20% off through the month of April. I also have more sock sets of Notes Exchanged Through the Wall. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I have Notes Exchanged Through the Wall, which is the April installment of the Lapis Lazuli Yarn Society, inspired by the Emma M. Lyon books by Beth Brower. And that is available either as a single skein or as a sock set if you want the contrasting mini. And those are available on either Biography Sock, which is my 85% superwash merino, super fine superwash merino, and 15% nylon, or on my classic DK base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon DK. And you can get it again, sock set or just the main skein. Now I did have a bit of a dyeing, as in DYEING, mishap when I was going to dye some of my Notes Exchange Through the Wall, where I accidentally dyed it at twice the dye saturation. And I ended up with this very beautiful turquoise yarn, which I think really does look like turquoise, like how it even has, like, you know how a turquoise has those little flecks of almost like the coppery color through it? That's what, to me, this looks like. It's a little green, little greener than what you're seeing in person. But I ended up with 5 skeins of this that I will be selling as a sweater quantity lot. So that will also be in the shop by the time I have this video up. And then a couple of people had to end up waiting a few extra days for their Notes Exchange Through the Wall because my yarn shipment didn't come in until last night to replace those. Well, just to restock. So yeah, that was just a silly moment. I caught it before I put the second batch in, though, and was able to rectify it. I put that yarn in, and as soon as it went in the dye, I went, ugh, that is not correct. What did I do? Pulled it out. Anyway, it's beautiful yarn. It's just not what I was going for. But it is actually really, really pretty. I love turquoise. I love turquoise jewelry so much. So that's what that makes me think of. That is everything that I have for you. So thank you so much for joining me. For me, this was my second time through this entire podcast. Hopefully my sound is all good. I tested it this time. And I am excited to see you next week. I will hopefully have my top done, and I hopefully will be doing a testing call for that top. So if that's something you're interested in, watch out for that testing call next week. And until I see you again next week, I hope you have so much fun with all of your making. See you again very soon. Bye-bye.